Hi, Democrats. Today is Friday, October 9th, the last day to register to vote to be able to participate in the November 3rd election. So if you are not registered to vote, stop what you're doing now. A lot of counties close at 5 p.m. today. County election boards close at 5 p.m. today, and they must be turned in by 5 o'clock today in order for you to be able to participate in the November 3rd election. I was at the Tulsa County Election Board earlier today, and it was so great. I saw people bringing in their own personal voters registration. I saw people bringing in stacks of voter registration from registration drives that they've done this week. I saw people dropping off their vote from home ballots, absentee ballots, dropping those off. It was really great to be around democracy in action. So if you're not registered and ready, please go ahead and stop what you're doing. I'll be back. I'll be here, on Tuesday. So you don't have to, you're okay with missing me. Go register to vote. Just filling out the form online in Oklahoma does not count. It has to be turned in to the election board today by 5. That's 555 North Denver by 5. I hope I'm just preaching to the choir, but I know there's a couple of people out there today, 5 o'clock. 555 North Denver. Get that turned in. So if you are registered and you still haven't made a plan, I'm gonna plead one more time for you to make a plan. Something occurred to me today that I wanted to share. We expect for our elected officials to have a plan to do the job. When they are running for office, we ask them, what is your plan for our economy? What is your plan for healthcare? We expect them to have a plan. So I say we should make a plan when we're picking them. We should make a plan to go cast our votes. So if you haven't made your plans, please go out to iwillvote.com/Oklahoma and make your plan. You can verify that you're registered to vote. You can request an absentee ballot if that's what you want to do. You can verify that your polling place hasn't moved, or you can locate your polling place. All of that is at iwillvote.com. They've tried to make it easy for you. So with that plan, 4 ways to vote. You can request your absentee ballot to be sent to your home. You can hand deliver it to the election board. It has to be hand delivered by you to your county election board. You can't take anyone else's. You can only take yours. And it has to be delivered during the hours of operation, because you have to sign that you're not going to also go show up and vote. So you can hand deliver it to your county election board, which is what I do. You can drop it in the mail. Make sure you do it with enough time that it arrives on time. And it has to, in Oklahoma, arrive by 5 p.m. on election day, 7 p.m., but the post office doesn't run that late. It has to arrive by end of business on election day. So those are 2 ways. Third way is early voting in person. And all over the state of Oklahoma, the early voting days are October 29th, 30th, 31st. That is the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, directly preceding the normal voting day. Thursday the 29th, Friday the 30th, Saturday the 31st. Those are early in-person voting days. In every other county but Tulsa County, you go to your county election board. And in Tulsa County, you go to One Oak baseball field. More on that a little bit later, but that's where early voting is. Make your plan. And then the 4th way to vote is in person on election day, which is Tuesday, November 3rd. If you have a job who accounts for your time, please coordinate with your boss. Let them know that you plan to vote on election day and work that out so that you are allowed the amount of time that you need to be able to vote, and you're not inconveniencing your boss, because you're going to need that job on November 4th. So there are 4 ways to vote. I hope you make a plan. And I'm going to harp on this. You need to go ahead and get used to hearing me say it, because when you make a plan, you are more apt to do it. So 4 ways to vote. So I mentioned earlier that I spent time today at the Tulsa County Election Board. And we have some members of our Affirmative Action Committee down. They volunteered their time to watch the absentee voting process. Today, October 9th, was the first day in Tulsa County where they were opening ballots and feeding them through and going through the whole process. I had heard the process. I had someone explain the process from a couple of different counties, but I went down to see it for myself. It's quite an operation. So they have the first tier. They're opening it and making sure that your ballots are notarized or that it has an ID attached to it. And they're opening it and they're putting them in stacks. If they are completed ballots and they're not spoiled and they have, they're not naked, which means they have to be in the affidavit envelope. They have to have signature. They have to either have the copy or the notary. They make sure all of that is intact because only those ballots get to be counted. So if you haven't turned in your ballot yet, make sure that you sign it. Make sure that if you're getting a notary, that they've stamped it, they've signed it, and they filled in all the blanks. If you're using an ID, make sure that your ID will not have expired by November 3rd. And it's a government issue ID. So it can be a state ID, a driver's license, a passport, your military ID, your tribal card, those, and your voter's registration card. Those are all acceptable forms of ID that can be attached. Follow the instructions on the inside. Make sure those are attached because I watched how they go through the process and they're opening them and they're putting the good pile and the bad pile. So let's talk about the good pile. Then the second round are folks who send them through an opening machine. They open them, they spread them all out flat, and then the third person takes them and feeds them through a machine. Quite a process. So that machine scans them front and back, and so they're available for count. They put them on a thumb drive that is locked in a safe that only the sheriff's office has a copy to. A key to. So it's a very secure process. No one knows the count until election day because it's locked in a safe. So they feed them through a machine and they're all bundled. They're put in a sealed box with some signatures across the top so you can tell if it's been busted open, and they're locked in a safe. Great process. Now, if your ballot doesn't have a signature and doesn't have a date or doesn't have a copy, then they go in a second tier. Or we can't tell if it's a signature, we can't tell, then they go through a second tier. That second tier are the election board workers. So it's the secretary, the chair, and the vice chair that are there. They're the experts, right? And so they go through and they make sure any of the questionable ones, they try to resolve the questions. So it was a really cool process. It was a room full of folks really doing the work. And, you know, I got to see democracy in action. It was a wonderful thing. So I did peek at some of the ballots. They didn't have names or any identifying information. But it was great because like the three that I saw on the top of the stacks, you know, were Biden votes, were Alice Knightley Freeman votes, were Abby Broyles votes. It was so exciting. Kojo votes, Democrat ballots, really exciting. So Tulsa County sent over 61,000 ballots out. As of this morning, before people started delivering things in, they had received 17,000 back. That's, you know, nearly a third have already mailed their ballots back. You guys rock. If you have your ballot at home, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and fill it out and get it in the mail as soon as you can, because every vote counts, but except for the ones that don't get cast. It doesn't count if it's in the little visor in your car. It doesn't count if it's on your desk. It only counts if it makes it to the election board. So please get your ballots turned in. If you have them at home, do your research, all that kind of good stuff. And so, you know, as I was watching, like I said, Allison Knightley Freeman's name colored in a box and Kojo's name colored in a box. As I was standing there, I kept thinking, we've got to make sure that local candidates are getting their due and they're getting their support. And so here's me begging again for you to find a couple of candidates to find and help them. The weather is great. Help them drop off literature, drop off yard signs, fill out postcards, donate money. We are in the home stretch. We are at 25 days. That is barely over 3 weeks until the election. So please reach out and help. I have a question. Someone asked, if I request my absentee ballot, can I still vote in person? The answer is yes. So I've been encouraging people to get their absentee ballot just because it helps them research. They have the little piece of paper in their hands and they can go through and research all of their candidates. Here's the thing. You will be marked in the book. You know how when you go in, they ask you your name and your affiliation. Off to the side, it will say that they sent you an absentee ballot. They will make you sign something saying that you didn't also turn in your absentee ballot, because doing them both is a felony. So yes, you can request your absentee ballot and vote in person, but you cannot turn in your absentee ballot and vote in person. The second option is a felony. Don't commit any felonies. Be safe. So we have been doing a lot of work, planning watch parties for the election, making sure that our local candidates are getting help. You know, we've been doing all of this kind of stuff. And it occurred to the particularly those who work at the office in Oklahoma City, that folks think that we are rolling in money because the day after the vice presidential debate, the day of the vice presidential debate, the DNC raised $12 million. Yay! That is awesome. And the amount that they sent to Oklahoma out of that $12 million, if you have a pen and paper, get ready, zero. Zero. That money goes directly to that campaign. None of that money comes to Oklahoma. We are still dependent on donations from Oklahomans. So if you haven't had a chance to donate to us, you like how I worked up to that? You haven't had a chance to donate to us. It is not too late. It is actually never too late to donate to us. Go out to okdemocrats.org/donate. We are not picky. We are not greedy. If all you can afford to do is $5 a month, we would greatly appreciate that $5 a month. Any money that we get in recurring donations allows us to plan the programming that we try to put together. Any money that we get on a recurring basis allows us to confidently say to candidates when we're recruiting candidates that we are building our base and that we will be able to do the programming that you need us to do. We will be able to do the things that we have to do to make sure that people recognize that Oklahomans, that are Democrats in Oklahoma. So any amount, if you can only, afford a $20 one-time donation, we'll take that. And we will be grateful for that. So I just needed to get that out. I forgot to say, guys, when you are making your plan to vote, and for those of you particularly who plan to vote in person, Oklahoma County has 9 charter amendments. That's 9 charter amendments on top of all the municipal races that you have, sheriff and county clerk, and a couple of other races. And then you have your House candidate and your state Senate candidate, and then you have Abby Broyles and Kendra Horn. All that's going to be on an Oklahoma City ballot. It's going to take a minute to color those in, which means it's going to take a minute. You may have to be in line. Oklahoma, we're kind of used to not having to wait in line. You may have to wait in line this time. And I am asking you to please wait in line. Do not leave. Do not be swayed. Please wait in line and make sure that you cast your vote. As long as you are in line before 7 p.m., that's not pulling into the parking lot. That's not putting on your shoes. That's not thinking about it. That's actually in line by 7 p.m. They have to let you vote. So another reason to pull up your sample ballot or get an absentee ballot, study it so you can just go in and color. And they will let you take in your cheat sheet. You can take in your cheat sheet, but you need to know how you're going to vote so that you can save time, because you're going to be waiting in line. I hope and pray that you're going to be waiting in line, because that means that everybody is exercising their right to vote. Well, I've taken up enough time. Monday is Indigenous Peoples Day. which is a holiday. I wish if we weren't in COVID times, I would say, hug an indigenous person on Monday, but don't. It's COVID times. But I won't be here on Monday. I am going to take a little time. You guys have a great weekend. Go help a candidate. Take care.